So this is the only way to classify the fundamental rights as per the Constitution. The Constitution gives this classification, but there are other ways also to classify the fundamental rights, and we will include all the ways by which we can classify the fundamental rights. Very important topic, very important for the mains examination as well as for the preliminary examination. The Constitution itself classifies the fundamental rights into how many groups? Originally made it into 7 groups, but now we have 6. Why? Because right to property is no longer a fundamental right. So no need of writing anything, but look here, just this is very important for you. The first right as per the Constitution, we are talking about the different types of fundamental rights or classification of fundamental rights. The first right is right to equality. That's the first right. The second one is right to particular freedoms, sometimes also referred to as right to freedom. Third is right against exploitation. And then the fourth is right to freedom of religion. Then comes the fifth, which is cultural and educational rights. ये तो आप बचपन से पढ़ रहे हैं, right? And then comes the sixth one. Let me use this sixth one because it no longer exists. Why? Because this is right to property, and this is omitted by the 44th constitutional amendment. And what was the year? 1978. The Morarji Desai government, it omitted the right to property. And then you have the right to constitutional remedies. Now look here. Right to equality. Look here very carefully. Right to equality is contained in the articles 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. These सारे articles, they deal with what? Right to equality. Right to particular freedom is dealt in 19, 20, 21, 22. Right against exploitation is 23, 24. Right to freedom of religion is 25, 26, 27 and 28. Cultural and educational rights is 29 and 30. Under Article 30, the minorities enjoy the cultural and educational rights. Right to property was, we all know, it was Article 31, but it no longer exists. And then there is right to constitutional remedies, which is Article 32. But remember, the total chapter extends between 12 to 35. Matlab 12, 13, 34 and 35. They deal with something else, right? So we'll talk about them also when the context comes up. But this is one way of classification of fundamental rights. So this is the only way to classify the fundamental rights as per the Constitution. The Constitution gives this classification, but there are other ways also to classify the fundamental rights, and we will include all the ways by which we can classify the fundamental rights. Very important topic, very important for the mains examination as well as for the preliminary examination, right? So another way of classifying the fundamental rights is to see that which fundamental rights are available to the citizens and which of them are available to everyone. It means citizens as well as aliens, remember? But some enemy aliens are put under some kind of restrictions, remember that? Like Article 22(7) related to preventive detention and all. Got it? So you already know this. Is the thing over for everyone? Okay. Now look here. You know there is an article called Article 15, 16, 19 and 30. Let's talk about these articles. What does Article 15 says? The state shall not discriminate on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth or any of them. 16, same kind of thing, but only in matters of public employment. 19, particular freedom, freedom of speech, expression, assembly, association, union, corporate societies, etc. All those kind of things, cooperative societies. 30, educational and cultural rights. Remember, cultural and educational rights of the minorities. These are only available to the citizens. Do you get that? Otherwise, minorities, wherever they are, they will start claiming the rights, and then our minorities will not get their due share. And it would be impossible and logistically a very big challenge to give rights to minorities all over the world. Do you get it? Further, you see that right to freedom of speech and expression, only Indians enjoy it in India. बाहर से अगर कोई आया है and he says that I also enjoy freedom of speech and expression, no, because that is available only to the citizens. Now, think of this, that suppose there is a foreign criminal and there is an Indian criminal, and both of them jointly committed a crime. Now, should we treat the Indian criminal different from the foreign criminal before the law? It means, remember Article 14, equality before the law. So, should the foreign criminal be treated differently before the law, like the Indian criminal? No, because both have committed similar kind of crimes. Do you get that? Similarly, think of this, right to life. Should it be restricted only to Indians or to anybody who has come over to India? Anybody. Do you understand that? Again, think of Article 25, which is the right to practice, profess and propagate your religion. If foreigners come to India, should we stop their religious practices? No. Do you get that? That's why you see that there are some fundamental rights which are available to everyone, and some of them only exclusively available to the citizens. Do you get that? Is this not one more way to classify the fundamental rights? Got it? तो ये जो आपने लिखा था, अभी जो आपने 6 rights लिखे हैं, excluding the right to property, what you do is you make it as one. First way of classifying the fundamental rights. And the second way of classifying the fundamental rights is this one. Suppose there are two persons, A and B, right? And A kills B. Got it? Now, can B, or now, because B no longer exists, so B's friends and family, can they go directly to the Supreme Court of India? The right here which is abridged is which right? Right to life. Right to life is a fundamental right or not? Is it a fundamental right or not? What is Article 21? Right to life and liberty. So here right to life has been taken away. So can this person or family of B and friends of B, can they go directly to the Supreme Court? By the way, let me tell you that on your behalf somebody else can also go to the Supreme Court to enforce your rights. Do you get this? This is possible. अगर आप ये सोच रहे हो कि ये लोग नहीं जा सकते, B को ही आना पड़ेगा, फिर तो खत्म हो गया मामला. Do you get it? So they can go on his behalf. My question is, can they go directly to the Supreme Court? No? Is this not violation? Then how is this a fundamental right? Okay. Okay. Think of this. Let me take one more example. Suppose there is another person C and another person say D, and this is what happened is that C wanted to form a union and D said that I will not allow you to form this union. Now, can C directly go to the Supreme Court? Did you understand my question? Now, do you remember Article 19? Freedom of speech, expression, then assembly, association, union, etc. Is it right to form a union? And C and D both are citizens. It means it is applicable in their case. So suppose D has not allowed C to form the union. Is the question clear? Yes. Now, can C directly go to the Supreme Court of India? Is this not a fundamental right in question? तो पहले वाले केस में नहीं हुआ, दूसरे वाले में हुआ, ऐसा कैसे? You are defying your own logic. आपने बोला यहाँ पे ये लोग नहीं जा सकते, दिस वॉज आर्टिकल 21, यू सेड नहीं जा सकते, बट यहां बोल रहे हो इट इज आर्टिकल 19 क्लॉज 1 सब क्लॉज सी, यहां बोल सक रहे हो आप कि जा सकते। यस गो ऑन। हाँ, so I'm saying that can he go to the Supreme Court directly in this case? You are saying he can, but in the first case you are saying he cannot. अच्छा, बात अलग हो गई। अब एक चीज सुनो ध्यान से, there are some fundamental rights which are enforceable only against the state. Do you understand that? It means if the government destroys those rights, then only you can go to the Supreme Court. And good examples of that is Article 19 and 21. You get it? वरना आप सोच के देखो कितने मर्डर्स होते हैं इंडिया में, सबके सब सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंच जाएंगे फिर तो, एंड इट विल बी अ कोर्ट ऑफ हैंडलिंग मर्डर केसेस rather than a constitutional court. Do you get it? कितना प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऊपर, इट विल ओनली हैंडल केसेस ऑफ मर्डर। और कोई भी जब जिसको पता है कि सबसे हाईएस्ट कोर्ट वो है, तो वो छोटे नीचे कोर्ट पे क्यों जाए, तो बाकी कोर्ट्स क्या करेंगे नीचे बैठ के, बहुत सारे मर्डर्स होते हैं। Do you understand that? So it will become a court of murder cases from a constitutional court. Will that be of any benefit for us? No. Then why we have established such a grandiose structure of judiciary? Also think of this. Article 19, you have to tell me what is this? Article 19 clause 1 sub clause A. Freedom of speech and expression. सोचो अगर कोई आपको बोलने ना दे और आप बोलो कि मैं चला जाऊंगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट, तो ऐसे तो बहुत सारे घर हैं जिनमें बहुत सारे लोगों को बोलने का मौका ही नहीं मिलता, वो अगर सारे चले गए सुप्रीम कोर्ट तो क्या होगा? सोचो, इट बिकम वेरी डिफिकल्ट। So there are some fundamental rights which are available only if they are violated by the state. Then only you can go to the Supreme Court. But in this case, they should have some remedy. But that will not be constitutional remedy. You can go to other courts, but not to the Supreme Court. And you can come to the Supreme Court also by way of appeal, but not directly. Do you get it? Do you get it? Whereas there are some fundamental rights which are enforceable against both the state as well as private individuals. Like say for example, Article 17 is again abolishment of untouchability. So if the parliament makes a law and declares that untouchability should be practiced, you can go to the Supreme Court. Even a private individual who practices untouchability against you, you can go to the Supreme Court in both cases. Do you get it? So this is the next type of classifying the fundamental rights.